So my name is Augustine Young Jr. I'm a resident of Upper District, Maryland County. And it all started, I remember at night, I was sleeping and I started to experience some strange feelings into my body. So I felt a sharp pain in my head and I started experiencing cold, and then my right foot, I could not walk. So what I did, I got up that night and I started to do some physical exercises just to help myself, because with some of the health tips and messages around concerning COVID-19 and other issues, if you start to feel like I felt, it is important that sometimes you get yourself engaged in physical exercises. So I started with that, and day broke, I chose to visit the hospital. My son was admitted. Before that time, he was admitted at the J.J. Dawson Hospital for like 1 week, 3 days. So that day I went at the hospital. Later I got to know that he was to be discharged. And then I left my old mom at the house. So while there trying to go and receive he and his mother, my son, we returned home. Unfortunately, then I met my old mother in the house, broke down. Right, so I held her and then I took her to the hospital because she was burning with fever and I could not understand what actually happened to her. It was so strange. I didn't leave her home like sick or something like that. But all of a sudden to return and see her, on the ground and crying for pain in her body, all the kind of things. So I held her and put her on a motorbike and I took her at the J.J. Dawson Hospital. So when we got there, we arrived at the ER. Then the nurses on shift realized that her condition and appearance was not actually good. So they gave her that attention, which appears or suggests to me that it was an emergency situation. So when I went through the process of testing and thoroughly examined her, and then she was positive. So it was also prudent enough that I go through the process now because I can directly contact with her. So that does not suggest as to whether I got it from her or she got it from me or wherever, but the fact is that that day she went through the testing process, she was confirmed positive. Myself went through the testing process and I was also confirmed positive. So the health workers called us and advised that with the situation now, we will be taken at the ICU, right at the J.J. Dawson compound. So we went at the ICU, they had some discussions with us, and then we were allowed to go in, and there we were for a couple of days, like 7-8 days, and had our responses and all of that, the necessary treatment and cares given to us. We were also advised to come home and do home isolation because the hospital now be overwhelmed, right? So we returned home and then continued with the process of isolation, completing the 14 days. So with the help of the Ministry of Health, so to speak, J.J. Dawson and Partners in Health and all of the nurses in Maryland, and the special grace of God, we actually came through. And after we completed the 14 days, we were discharged by the county health team. By the grace of God, I'm okay right now. I'm very fine body. Those experiences I had before I was admitted at the hospital, and I'm not feeling like that. I'm okay, and it will interest you to know that during the time at the ICU, there were so many things I went through, right? I remember one night I was sleeping. I thought I was about to die. Yes, I saw myself like darkness in my eyes. In fact, it was not night, it was like between 3 p.m. afternoon. The whole place got dark and I jumped from the bed, started crying and praying to God to at least help me into the process. So the medication that the health workers actually gave to us at the facility, those things really helped us. I remember some of the nurses came, and my pressure, since I was born, I've never experienced a situation for pressure to fluctuate. My pressure started to go very, very high, and I could not remember or understand what exactly was responsible for that. So I was almost like being frustrated. I was like really discouraged, but they were like the psychosocial team would come, have some discussions, encourage me, give me some motivations, and it let me to know that by the special grace of God, I can come through. I'm not the first person that have been positive and all the kind of thing. So I'm just grateful to God for the despite the prevailing situation in our country, the health workers are indeed doing their best. When we're asked to leave from the RCU and come home to do home isolation, there was a team from Partners in Health and some members of JJ Dozen arrived to my place and gave her food items, right? And then they were like checking on us maybe two, three times a day, depending on the situation, because I was always in touch with some of them. And like I said, my pressure kept going high. In fact, my old mother that I was so worried about, she was like becoming very healthy and stronger than me. Yes, so I don't know what the condition, but I'm grateful